Jane.
Ellen.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. 응답하라 여친.
Go to the into the shit.
박 to the 경 to the chu. Oh, Jane. Today is, I know we put out the episodes a little later just because our studio time and all that, but today is the day. Friday, January 10th.
Mm-hmm.
The oral cases for TikTok.
The TikTok ban.
Is what I was listening to on my way over here.
Mm-hmm.
Jane, we are cooked.
I think we are.
As the kids say, we are cooked.
The Supreme Court hearing is going on as we speak, as we're recording.
Yeah.
And, I was tuning in and out of like some of the TikTok commentary. And mostly I was watching the Times, like the live updates on what the attorneys were saying, what arguments. But yeah, I think when the law passed months ago with pretty much full bipartisan support in this polarized climate, it's the one thing they can agree on. Yeah. Right? Is like national security. Yeah. This social network.
That just sped on through. Mm-hmm. And it was just like so swiftly done. Mm-hmm. And I was, listen, I have lawyers in the family, but of course I am no lawyer. Mm-hmm. I am a regular street person. But even as I'm listening, I'm like, Jane, the woman that they got to represent Congress's, representing U.S. is Elle Woods.
Elle Woods.
I haven't seen her
not
physically.
Watching. Yeah, well, I'm not.
I've only heard the oral. And when I tell you this woman sounds like Elle Woods, and
funny.
I would just like to remind the Supreme Court that their job is to do. I'm like, oh my God, we're getting cooked by Elle Woods. And they don't interrupt her. Mm-hmm. They let her just roll on. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, when the TikTok dude is talking, they're like, actually, can you rephrase that? Actually, are you trying to say? And he's like, he's stumbling, he's stuttering. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We're getting buried alive out here. I'm actually really proud of myself that I can laugh about this. And it's thanks to you.
Really?
Because we've been preparing at this idea, like, what if you and I have had talks about what if TikTok goes away? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for me? I think you have way more stakes in terms of, like, business opportunities. Mm-hmm. Me, no problem there. But I am more invested with, like, human connections. Mm-hmm. I have proudly said that the way I create content hasn't changed since I started in 2020. Mm-hmm. The very reason I got on that app was for human connection when the world was shut down with COVID. So it does mean a lot to me.
Yeah. But
through our podcast, you prepared me for this moment. And I hate gushing about you because I feel like I do it too often. And I don't want to build you up that you'll leave me or something. But you have prepared me to be ready for this, to help me in this place to know that I'll be fine.
Good. I'm glad. This is nothing new to us.
Yeah.
For those of us who hopped on TikTok during the pandemic or right at the start of it, I mean, there were rumblings about a TikTok ban.
God, there have been so many.
In 2020.
Yeah. I what is it like? This is like its last.
Yeah, this is at least the third time.
Yeah, at least. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And obviously it's gone the furthest. Yeah. Right, this time.
This is the final blowout, it seems.
Yeah. And I think I've always taken the stance that, for me it always was, if it goes away, then, there's nothing that we can control about that. I mean, I have thoughts about.
No, I remember distinctly the shift in my brain. You changed my brain chemistry about this whole situation when I asked you, like, can you, like, when it really seems significant enough, the push that they were pushing with to get rid of the app, and I said, I think this could go for real. And then you said, the first thing you said, and it was you and me just talking out and about. Maybe that's fine. You literally were just like, yeah, that could be okay. And I remember feeling like, wow, yeah, it's not the end all be all for us.
Right. I think there's like two perspectives. It's like, what does it mean for us, you know, as TikTok content creators? What does it mean for us now? And just the kind of day-to-day impact. And it's like little things, right? I think for both of us, we monetize content. So, you know, I especially felt that pressure before the holidays because my manager was telling me, okay, Jane, you need to focus efforts on Instagram and YouTube. And I'm like, I don't want to, because that never was my intention, but I guess I will if I want to keep certain, you know, partnerships, like business partnerships that I was working on. Mm-hmm. So it's I see it from like a work perspective, but even still it's hard for me to take it super seriously.
Yeah.
For me, more concerning is like knowing that the government can just step in and take away things, and take away rights.
Right.
And,
I never thought we live in a
concerning.
Yeah, I never thought we were the U.S., the great U.S., that we would be at a place where the government could ban an app before guns.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, that's a loaded statement. Yeah. No, you're right. But I mean, they've overturned Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
Right. And they've taken away like extremely like what we thought was core to being American and why we love living here.
Yeah. And I think that is actually one of the elements why I really recognize that this will not go our way, because, you know, I watch, okay, obviously Law TV is not real, right? But it romanticizes law, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of those times when I'm watching, like I'm used to watching The Practice, Boston Legal, Ally McBeal even, and in those like TV romanticized versions of the courtroom where they're arguing, they're feverishly protecting like First Amendment rights.
Right.
And at the core of that, what does it mean to silence, to be silenced?
Yeah.
But those elements are not even in play.
Right.
I thought we were going to get to the heart of the component of protecting our First Amendment rights. And it was so like technical. Like, no, wait, what happens if ByteDance gets, or the U.S. gets diversified? You know, it's all technical.
Yes.
Legal, like, how do we break up the company?
Right.
The idea, the protecting of First Amendment doesn't even seem to be the focus.
No.
There's
not.
I expected I thought the Supreme Court justice like focus would be like on that merit. But it, to me, just as a regular street person, didn't feel like we were even touching on it.
I think if the lawmakers were able to convince the Supreme Court that this was about First Amendment, there's only really one way it could go.
Right.
The only way they can get TikTok banned is to really focus on ownership. Like this is about, you know, who owns TikTok. And we do not want to associate with, you know, any entity that's a national security risk. And so by shifting that, this is how it's going to get done. But the impact is, you know, all the people who've granted, there's so much commercialized now on TikTok, right? It's a very different beast than it was in 2020
when we started. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like, even still, for me, the primary merit of TikTok is just the immediacy of information.
Yeah.
And yes, as a consumer, you have to be critical in what you're consuming. You're going to get a lot of like misinformation too.
Right. Anywhere.
But anywhere. But I think it was like that free-flowing access. And we've talked about this, that this is scary. Yeah. Like that in itself is a risk to those in power.
Which is funny because Facebook had that whole influence in the election, and they never paid a price.
Right.
For, directly being proven to have an impact in that way. Mm-hmm. But also, like, I think going in, we knew, like all the experts were saying, going in on the merits of First Amendment was going to be weak to start with, because it's going to be, what you're fighting against is anti-China sentiment. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as an Asian American, doesn't it feel, like I got imagery of propaganda, oh my God, the Yellow Peril.
Oh yeah, and I'm thinking of like the McCarthy era. Yeah. Like, it's very much like these things have happened in history. So, when people are like, oh, I don't believe they're going to ban TikTok, it's like, no, what do you...
Well, I know. I don't know what planet they are on, because I'm like, you do realize this is real.
Right, right.
I think this is where I struggle with, this comes back to people I have neighbors who say, I don't see color. Yeah. Like, you get to live in your bubble, but whenever there's a rise of and push, about anti-China, the Chinese are out to get the adversary. Yeah. They're scheming, like the paranoia that gets laced in these comments have a direct impact on us.
Yeah, yeah. I know. So it's very,
and of course, let's be clear, we're not Chinese, but people don't know, when they see us.
They don't know.
They don't distinguish us.
No, they don't. I mean, it's the very reason why we were scared to go out in public during the pandemic.
Yeah. And this is just the beginning of 2025, Jane.
It's just the beginning.
This is just January.
I mean, it's been a really, really tough week.
Is the world coming to an end, Jane? It do be feeling like that. Like, and actually, we should also... I texted you, you're from California, and the fires, it literally does feel like the world is burning. Yeah. These fires are tremendously aggressive. I believe more destructive than the fires we had some years ago, right? From what I am hearing.
Yeah, and I think there's many fires, right? It's like in like the Malibu coast, the one that's the Pacific Palisades
multiple
fire.
Right, simultaneously,
and then more like toward the mountains, Altadena, and then like all scattered. And then there's now there's investigations going on because at least one of the fires
was set
is
by
suspected arson.
It's craziness.
Like a homeless guy with a flamethrower,
right? And I remember somebody I can't remember, like somebody, I think Chris Brown was like, somebody setting the fires. I was like, what the fuck is this asshole on? And then that comes out and I'm like, oh my God,
And speaking of like the interconnectedness of everything, because I have a lot of friends who, work in the corporate world or in HR, a lot of friends who are based in LA, work remotely. And I saw an article about TikTok telling their LA-based employees to use up all their sick time and vacation time.
That doesn't...
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. The ones who have to like...
evacuate?
Yeah, evacuate.
Use your vacation time? Okay, that's fucked up. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have emergency time for your employees? They're about to, their whole life is about to burn out. What are you talking about?
One of my friends is an attorney for TikTok for ByteDance, and her family evacuated because they're, you know, in the impacted area.
Oh my God.
I know it's been a heavy week.
We're not even in the middle of January. This is the second
We haven't even sworn in our felon. Convicted felon.
You know, the Trump fans were holding on to, well, technically he's not convicted. Shut that down. Yeah. He is a convicted man now, okay?
I mean, the headlines that I was reading, it's just like, oh my gosh, like over my morning coffee. Yeah, this is like stranger than fiction type of stuff.
Yeah, 어이가 없어 means like we can't even make any sense of this, so we have to. That's a Korean saying. Yeah, like we are lost for words, so we're laughing because what else are we supposed to do?
Yes.
I think I am kind of. I think or maybe, you know, when I tell you that I'm prepared, but I'm also maybe detached.
I think it is. I think, yes.
Like
I feel detached.
My brain
or numbness.
is trying to protect me.
I can't even, it seems, yes. And for me, like, it seems silly to, like, I couldn't. I just,
see?
I could not. You know, my manager was asking me, Jane, you need to send me like your insights for your Instagram. And I'm like, sorry, I cannot.
I can't do shit like that. That is the most annoying shit.
I can't because of what's going on in life and
real life.
I can't.
Like, there's fires all over.
Yeah. Like all day. You know, all day yesterday and all week I've just been, you know, calling, texting, talking to people, asking them how they're affected or what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And I just
it's weird to try to compartmentalize like real happenings with fire,
right?
Like physical, literal fire that can burn up a home. And my God, I had that happen right next door.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
And then, I mean, you know, you think you know what that means, and until it comes right at your like door, it's when I was running home and I saw my neighbor's house completely engulfed in flames. And the firefighters spraying our house because they had already given up on their house.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, our objective here is to make sure it doesn't spread to this house. And it's your brain can't even really compute.
No.
And then you got this, you know, 10 other things going on. It's like, does any of it matter?
Right.
So but it also kind of shuts you down.
It does feel like that,
right? And it's like I have to believe this isn't. I'm on multiple realities.
Yeah,
and you kind of have to find a way to prioritize what's what because you can't take it all in.
Yes, I think that's why I have been having a hard time this week because someone who needs to feel in control all the time.
Wow, this is the ultimate test for you.
Yeah. Well, I've been like so irritated by everything, like every little thing.
Oh, yeah.
And this morning, I kid you not, Googled everything annoys me. What is wrong with me?
Oh my God, I've Googled that too.
Did you?
Not today, but I Googled that on the regular.
Yeah.
Why am I so irritable?
Yeah.
How to be less irritable. And what was the answer you got?
Okay.
I Google that all the time.
It was like, you're either hungry.
Okay.
Fatigued. Or you have depression.
Anxiety.
Yeah. An anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
But it was those three things. It was like
go
your
eat
body
a Snickers
didn't get
bar,
what it
Jane.
needs. Yeah. Hunger. Or so it was like nutritional deficiency or like a lack of rest or a mental
all of the above.
Mental health.
Yeah, all of the above for you, Jane.
Yeah.
All of the above.
But it was I could not get a handle on myself.
That's why I asked you, have you slept? And you were like, ugh.
I did sleep, but it was like a very fraught sleep.
Yeah.
Where it was like crazy dreams,
anxiety. Running.
Yes, and then you wake up not feeling rested. But
I Google that all the time, by the way.
You're like you're falling asleep to bad news. You're waking up to bad news. Yeah, it's been.
And then remember the Jeju Air crash was also
we forgot about that.
I know. It was December 28th. By the way, I found out about that on my birthday. Well, it was December 29th in Korea.
Yeah.
But we heard about it on December 28th. Here. And I felt horrible guilt for even thinking
celebrating.
Like, yeah.
No, I know.
How do I celebrate my birthday when?
Well, and then like Lunar New Year is coming up, right? It's kind of like us being, being Asian American, we kind of get 2 New Years, right?
Yeah.
For me, like New Year's after Christmas, like the January 1 day is kind of a dry run.
Right.
It's like that's because like that's with family and stuff. But then, Lunar New Year is like you kind of get like another start.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. But
or another run at it.
Run at it. And
I'm
it's
a
not
bad
looking
Asian.
Great.
I don't do the Lunar New Year.
I mean,
I think I purposely kind of let it go because it's
fine.
Too much.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I do feel like the kids ask about it, and I feel like we should do something because I want them to know. My family, though, my actual family, when I was growing up, we adapted to just celebrating New Year's Day. Like first day of as a Korean American.
Yeah.
But you go like full on.
Well, I think growing up, we celebrated New Year's on January 1. With all the family. But then sometimes we also had a gathering like at the end of January or early February, which was like Chezha and like different,
and I like that. It's like
to
that
do Lunar
our
New
own,
Year. Yeah. And then same thing for Thanksgiving. We always celebrated Chuseok.
Yeah.
And then also American Thanksgiving. So it was kind of like, we got double the holidays type of thing. Yeah, it was funny because when we were in California, we were there until January 1st, but our flight out was so early in the morning that we did all the New Year's stuff with family the night before.
Oh.
And my mother-in-law was saying she went to the bank to get the red envelopes. They didn't have them because they said, we're going to get them. We'll have them in time for Lunar New Year, which was so interesting to me because I was like, I thought I was like, are we the only Asian Americans that hand out money on New Year's Day?
No, that can't be, right?
Yeah. And they said, we're, they were kind of like late on their timelines. They're like, yeah, it's a little delayed this year, but we'll have them in time for Lunar New Year, which was really funny. But I mean, the reason why we sell Lunar New Year is like more of a thing now is because it's been so commercialized.
Right.
It's another... and that's like with the advent of like TikTok and influencer marketing and all the, companies jumping on that bandwagon, like Sephora launching like the Lunar New Year collection, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not a fan of that by any means.
Because when we were growing up, it was so intimate and small.
Yes. And it was kind of like if you're in that circle, that inner, if you know type of thing.
Exactly.
Right?
I love that element of it. Like, it's our, but now
it's our custom,
like
it's our tradition. Now
Target.
it's a whole thing, and and the whole like, it's not Chinese New Year, it's Lunar New Year. I'm like,
my
it is whatever you, you know what I mean?
It's, I am tired.
Yeah.
Me
too.
This is not how I wanted to go into 2025.
No.
But I think my brain for kind of shutting it down. Like, it's all happening. It's I love that movie title and the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. Mm-hmm. That's like story of our lives.
That's what it feels like right now.
And you can only, look at what's in front of you.
Yeah.
And take in what you can. And it is a blessing to be human in that way. Because, my God, if you took in everything that was happening, how could you handle it?
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel, and we touched on this a little bit, but I do feel thankful that we are of the age we are.
Yes.
Because we've seen so much of like the evolution. We didn't grow up with social media. We didn't grow up with Instagram. It was...
And actually, I like that you bring that up because I recently made a video. You must know the Ha sisters. The Korean American, they're pretty big on TikTok. Evelyn Ha and
If clearly, I saw them, I would know probably.
So one of them, I think I don't know, probably like 7 or 8 million followers or whatever. Combined, it's probably like over 20 million, the three of them. Mm-hmm. But one in particular, the oldest one, age 25. Mm-hmm. It's funny because she's... I think she dated a Korean guy. I mean, definitely an Asian guy. Mm-hmm. And her following loved him for her, like shipped them. But then they broke up, and now she's dating a white guy. Mm. And they're not her fans are not a fan of this new man. However, it's because when she hard launched this relationship, she did the whole, like, we listen, we don't judge. And maybe maybe you may have seen this one. And so he's off camera. And then she's like, we listen, we don't judge. Like, sometimes I wear my socks 3 days in a row. And he's like, no, you don't. That's funny, right? Uh-huh. Is it really that revealing? Whatever. And then he says, okay. And he's off camera and says, we listen, we don't judge. I don't want to be here. Ooh. Like, and she's like, and he constantly makes jokes quotes like this, and he's off camera saying all these things, and they're just like one red flag after another.
Oh yeah.
Like, if that's what he wants to say, quote unquote, like off camera, but pretty much said what he said. Mm-hmm. Like, what does he say to you in real time, right? So then she got a lot of backlash. And she was like, you guys don't know the real him, whatever. Okay, fine. Moved on. However, she's been posting a lot about this man and tagging him like my rich white boyfriend, hashtag gonna be a stay-at-home wife. Like, I guess he's loaded.
Okay.
And one of the most recent videos was her getting on a small plane with their own pilot. Uh-huh. And she's like, ooh, private trip, whatever. Uh-huh. Hashtag great view of whatever. Then the camera ends with looking at her playlist. Mm-hmm. And the playlist is titled Airplane Crash Songs.
Oh. Okay.
And now that's like, people are like, wow, that's... Because it stood there. It wasn't like it briefly passed. Mm-hmm. It pointedly rested there and cut off. Mm-hmm. I looked at that. I thought so I saw references to this, like, what kind of Korean American could make jokes? I was like, what is this even about? And I actually went to the video and I was like, that's fucked up. It hasn't even been a month.
So you're saying that she made a joke, she made light of the Jeju air crash?
Well, I believe so. And I think it's a controversial thing. You know how everybody's chasing clout and virality?
So, yes. I feel like this is like a chicken or the egg type of thing.
Yeah.
Because what I loved about TikTok in the beginning, maybe this was my own.
No, I know. Yeah.
Me being naive. But what I loved about TikTok in the beginning was that people who just regular folks.
Yep.
Would find virality, and it was very wholesome.
Yes.
And
now people are chasing these moments.
Yes, and it was like that magic, that kind of like unexpectedness, something that resonates with people, and the way that the unique TikTok algorithm worked was that you would see content that you normally would never see on
that was the beauty of it,
platforms like Instagram or YouTube, because their algorithms don't work that way,
right?
And that was the beauty of it. And now the kind of icky part is that people have figured out,
and
there's always been an element of that,
but
that's what they're targeting. They're chasing it.
Yeah.
They're chasing it. And so now it's hard to, I don't know why. Maybe it's just human nature, but you're always looking for the intent.
Yeah.
Behind.
But you also notice like that whole, I looked in the comments. Now this was already, I didn't make that opinion.
It happened, so obviously it's been less than a month since the Jeju air crash.
And I followed, it's not like this video organically appeared on my page. People were already talking about, there's this Korean American creator who is making jokes about the Jeju. I was like, who the fuck could make jokes about the Jeju crash? So it wasn't directly done, but it was intentional, right? You don't show that.
You think it was intentional, and
Absolutely.
It couldn't have been a coincidence.
The way the camera sits there to end with that, like I'm on a plane, I'm with there's no way, especially if you're Korean American, and these girls aren't detached from Korea. They go to Korea. They recently went to Korea. They make content. People follow them because they're young and Korean.
Because I want to say yes, like I want to agree with you. But there's also, for me, what I see is that if you're in social media, like it can be so easy just to like not be aware of what might be obvious to us. Like it's the same idea that like I have a completely different, For You page, Explore page as you.
If you're Korean American and you are not aware of the Jeju airline crash, I don't think you can call yourself Korean American.
Okay.
Woo!
Yeah, we heard Blake say.
I heard Blake go.
Yeah.
Oof. I think it was the most devastating news coming out of Korea, and it was covered really heavily even here.
I think I say that because if it was intentional,
you can't.
I can't believe that. I can't wrap my mind around it.
This is the niceness in you, Jane.
No, it's not. It's just like
there's no way.
There has to be. I'm like, there has to be another. Not has to be, but there's a possibility of there being another reason, being that she's 25, maybe she has like no clue, like so detached. If she's, you know what I mean, so preoccupied with flaunting wealth or like flexing.
Okay.
I don't know.
So this video has been sitting out.
Did she address it?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's been brought up. Like, whoa, this is really insensitive. It's
Sure,
been
in
brought
her
up
comments.
numerously in the comments.
Numerous
the
times.
video
So
still stands.
Okay.
If it's brought up to you and you ignore it, then what does that say?
It says,
because if I genuinely did that and I didn't know, I would take it down immediately. Like, oh fuck. But also, even before we get into that, what I wanted to, like, there is also like this generational, like, so I made a video about it. I was like, this generation is different. They are so fucking unserious about everything, and they flex on it.
Yeah,
like everything is up for grabs.
Yeah,
you know, and I feel guilty because there's things that are said on the internet. People jump to say. People want to be the first to say. People want to be the like the most controversial. That's because that's how you get attention.
Sure.
In the sea of the internet. And so I think it could have been intentional, but also like everybody says everything. That's the mentality, right? Like nothing is shocking anymore.
Right.
So if you're in that framework, so like her fans were like, oh my God, I love how unserious she is. She's always so unserious. She's so funny. Like nothing, like she's so dead ass. I'm like, you know what I actually said in that video too? I was like, you know what? Maybe it is time for this app to go. Because fuck me, that is, if that's kind
what
of
I was
influence
gonna say.
that you're having on people, where it's gotten to a point where everything is just for clicks.
Yeah.
God, maybe we do need a reset.
Right.
And as much as I enjoy it personally and I have gains, like I make, coffee money.
You know, I think with all things, there's like a whole spectrum of why people do it or what they're looking for, what their goals are. Yeah. So, you know, I think there are people who genuinely this will impact their livelihoods if TikTok goes away.
Yeah.
And
those are the people that I actually do.
Life-changing money or, you know, access that they didn't have before.
There are people who full-time work
as
an influencer on TikTok. Thank God I'm not, and you don't do that. You still do it at leisurely. We both do it leisurely, but we are very aware of people who actually have made this their career. And I think the U.S. government has no idea the ripple effect this will have on the American economy now. I mean, 170 million people on TikTok. I don't know what the numbers are, but people shop there. Like an incredible amount now. It has built itself up to be not just and that was the other thing that was really frustrating listening to this court case. It reminded me of when they were grilling that guy,
the CEO.
And they had they sounded like they were from the cave ages, of like how an app works and how social media is. And again, these like Supreme Justices like, I understand, you get cat videos, and I'm like, oh my God, it's gone so much beyond that now. And the fact that you are not aware, like, okay, but moving aside from the cat videos, I'm like, you're so disconnected. These are like super old people that I know have never used TikTok a day in their lives.
Right. I mean, we're at the, even though social media has been around for, like 20 years, 20 plus years, like this is still the advent of it. And I wonder what the conversations, what it will be, 10, 15, 20 years from now of when we were all freaking out about this app.
Remember when we were like, oh, what's email? I can't believe we lived through that. But to be at a time where like the gap is so huge, like either you can be completely in or completely oblivious.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are running the country.
Yeah. Well, one day that'll be millennials in the majority.
Oh my God.
And
I will keep up. Jane, I will fucking keep up. I will go to like those trainings for old people.
Yeah. I do believe that you will keep up. I don't know if I will keep up. I feel like TikTok was like the last place I will go.
That's not
and
true.
it took a
there was
pandemic.
A hard learning curve when we started.
And it took an unprecedented time. Like
We were literally locked in a room.
We were stuck at home. It was so
bored at the house. Bored at the house.
In the house bored. I'm bored in the house, and I'm in the house bored. Like,
that's what it took. We had to be locked in our rooms to learn this app.
I was never like a social media poster. Like, Ben was the first one to be on Instagram, and he was like an avid Instagrammer. And I was like, what is the point? That was my relationship with social media. I did it because I had to, like, for work.
Yeah.
But that was about it.
And look at you now. You're one of TikTok's
Well, I'm saying, like, it took
biggest stars.
If this goes away, all right. That's all right.
You know, it makes all the more having this with you.
Yeah.
Something like so special. Because it feels like, well, if all of it goes, I still have this thing with Jane, our little hideout. We can just, be in our bunker.
Yeah. I mean, this is our little corner.
Yeah.
It's our little corner of content.
And we'll share basically what the aspects of what I enjoy about TikTok, being connected and being able to talk to you and dissect things. And that's what I love about it. So.
Yeah. I think you have to hold on to like the real relationships and the value that it's brought people, and everything else is like, it's just like the infrastructure, and that will change and come and go, and
something new will always come. And that's also the beauty of birth and rebirth. Like, it's not going to be this. I mean, before TikTok was, I believe, Vine, and I never got on Vine, but something new always comes up and takes over. But and there is the beauty of enjoying the ride while it lasts.
Yeah.
And then
I think
that's the
it
thing
might
of
be
life.
time for our YouTube era.
But YouTube's still around, Dave. They're telling us to go to YouTube now.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, might be time.
Oh, you're saying go. I thought you were saying YouTube is over.
No.
I remember
it might be time for our YouTube era, which, yay.
피곤하다. Exhausted. Okay, but you know what? We have this.
Yes, we will still be here past January 20th.
Yeah, we'll be your emotional support. Come talk to us. Send us, questions.
Yes.
Shit, if you want to come as a guest, we might even be open to that, but you have to intrigue us. I personally have very short attention span, so you'd have to be very interesting. No, I'm just kidding. We don't know, but it'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
That we can promise.
Yes.